horses and Baldoro. These two go on with Ubakakeo down at the rail and Ready to Rumble or Baldoro and Ready to Rumble. Baldoro's just in front, and Baldoro with a hard-earned victory beats and Ready to Rumble. Cupid's Crusader third in front of Ubakakeo. Then Bear Hunt a close-up fourth. Then And Ready to Rumble, not the best of beginnings for him, racing on the inside of Cupid's Crusader. Dazzle the Command and Ubakakeo at the back. It's Talus to make the lead, 3/4 of a length. Hot Regs Momolo is in second. Then Bear Hunt. Baldoro settles nicely in fourth. Goes in. They're in the gate. And they're off. Even start. Rodriguez first, going viral. The last straw moves up on the outside. Awkward moments for Cornhusker Chris, who is a bit awkward indeed, into the first turn. Here's Rank in the meantime, moving up to take second. And at the back of the field is Baeza. It's the favorite Rodriguez to make his own pace. Pressed now by Rank to the 6 furlong pole, who's about a length back second. It's 2 more to Baeza claiming third. Cornhusker Chris is down on the inside fourth. At the back are Going Viral and The Last Straw. 5 lengths covers the field. It's Rodriguez to the 5/8 pole, cruising along up top. In hand, 3/4 of a length to Rank in second. Baeza clearly third. Cornhusker Chris now fourth. The Last Straw, 5 off the lead. Going Viral at the back. Past the half-mile pole, Rodriguez and Rank. 3 back to Baeza third. Then it's Cornhusker Chris. The Last Straw inching a little bit forward now, taking that fourth spot 3 furlongs from home, and it's a distance to Going Viral. They're coming to the quarter pole. Rodriguez shaking away from Rank. Baeza on the outside of them in third. 5 lengths back to The Last Straw and Cornhusker Chris. They turn for home. Rodriguez in command. 3-length lead at the top of the stretch. Now it's 4 at the furlong pole. Good battle between Baeza and Rank. Head and head, second and third. Cornhusker Chris is in fourth. They pass the 16th pole, and Rodriguez too classy. Rodriguez striding out beautifully, in fact, will romp home. Wins by 7 lengths. Baeza completes the exacta in front of Rank and then Cornhusker Chris. Light the beam. And they're off. Pete's Old Fashioned and Duran both out quickly. Be Punctual now up to take the lead, and Thrust goes with him. Light the Beam is on the far outside. Sippin' Whiskey second to last, and Devil in the Bluegrass trails. Round the first turn, it's Duran leading the way by a length and a half, tracked by Be Punctual second. It's another 2 back to Thrust, who's narrowly in third. Pete's Old Fashioned inside of him. Another couple of lengths back to Devil in the Bluegrass, who's 6 lengths off the lead. Light the Beam outside of him and Sippin' Whiskey in between those two. They swing on to the backstretch, and they have to catch Duran. A length and a half in front. Be Punctual still second. Then Pete's Old Fashioned and Thrust together third and fourth. Devil in the Bluegrass, Light the Beam, 6 off the lead. 3 more to Sippin' Whiskey. Into the far turn, and it's Duran and Frankie Dettori carving out all the fractions. Be Punctual second the whole way. Then Thrust into third. Pete's Old Fashioned back to fourth. 3 lengths back to Devil in the Bluegrass, followed by Light the Beam and Sippin' Whiskey. Approaching the quarter pole, Duran a length. Be Punctual has not surrendered second. 3 back to Thrust in third, and then Pete's Old Fashioned. 3/16 of a mile to go. Duran cuts the corner, widens again to be in front by almost 4 lengths over Be Punctual. Down at the rail, Pete's Old Fashioned grinding away, trying to get into second, but it's a runaway for Duran. Duran is all alone, close for second, and no doubt about it, W for Duran by more than 5 lengths. Pete's Old Fashioned outfinished Be Punctual. Devil in the Bluegrass fourth. Goes up. And they're off. Velocious is sprinting out for the early lead. Annie's Joy starts now in between them. Tirupati is up in the mix too and up to claim that second spot. Strange Addiction and Katerini are next, 3 in front of Cameron Slough. At the back of the field, Catonia and Free and Humble. They're covered by 8 lengths as the field moves into the first turn, and it is Velocious setting the tempo. Leading by a length, Tirupati is in second. Down at the rail, Annie's Joy third, 2.5 or 3 lengths off the lead as they make their way onto the backstretch with Strange Addiction on the outside. And in between those two, Starts Now in the red has 4 to make up. 2 more to Catonia on the inside of Katerini. That pair is followed by Cameron Slough and then Free and Humble. They have less than a half mile to go, and it is Velocious in front, 3/4 of a length. Tirupati has been tracking throughout. Strange Addiction, Annie's Joy, Starts Now, continues between those two. Here's Catonia in mid-pack, 6 lengths off the lead, followed by Katerini, another 2. Cameron Slough trying to mount a bit of a bid, leaving Free and Humble at the back. 1/4 mile to go, and Tirupati is now up to make her move for the lead, and Tirupati puts her head in front of Velocious. Behind them, Starts Now down at the rail. Annie's Joy there inside the 8th pole. Tirupati is now sprinted 3 clear. It's Tirupati by 4 now with a 16th to go and towering over the competition. Tirupati wins it by 4 lengths. Starts Now second, Photo for third, Catonia and Cameron Slough. And they're off in the San Vicente. It's a quick start for Mackenzie Street, who will go out for the early lead. Head and head with Barnes through the opening furlong. Romanesque third. Bullard broke beautifully, settles on the outside of him. And Smooth Cruisin' is 4 lengths off the battle up top between Mackenzie Street and Barnes. They're head and head past the 5/8 pole. Romanesque is tugging his way in third. Then it's Bullard fourth, 3 off the pace. Another 2 back to Smooth Cruisin', who's guided to the far outside. Less than a half mile to go, and it's Mackenzie Street. The pace is moderate. 3/4 of a length to Barnes, sticking right with him in second. Romanesque is very eager in third. Another neck back to Bullard, called on now outside of him, and Smooth Cruisin' 3 wide, coming to the quarter pole. Barnes makes his move, and there goes Barnes, opening up a length and a half quickly on Mackenzie Street in second. Bullard set down. He's under serious pressure as Barnes turns for home. Full of run in the San Vicente, opening up by 3. Romanesque rallying in between horses. Bullard on the outside, but it's a 1-horse race coming to the 16th pole. Barnes is a beast. Another San Vicente for Bob Baffert. This time it's Barnes, handridden to a 6-length victory. Romanesque second. Bullard finished third. And they're off. Miso Fancy broke very nicely and will battle for the early lead, but there are several of them, including Tropical Rain Day in Nepal, who go on with it. Just behind them comes Go Cami O in fourth, and now Maria Tallchief moves through smoothly at the rail, a length and a half in front of Kapalua Ride. Maria Tallchief having to slam on the brakes momentarily. Orange Thunder is racing in mid-pack, 6 or 7 lengths off the lead as they move into the far turn. Forest Dazzle is next, racing 3/4 of a length in front of Tapatia Leah on the outside of Butterfly Beach. around the far turn. And it's Nepal Tropical Rain Day, Go Cameo just outside of them in third. Maria Tall Chief is fourth along the inside, 4 lengths off the lead. Me So Fancy will swing to the far outside in the pink. St. Shelia is in behind her. There's an eighth of a mile to go. And Nepal goes on, has a 2-length lead. Maria Tall Chief trying to get out with those big strides. And now here's Me So Fancy. And Me So Fancy just blows by them all. Me So Fancy accelerates to score by 3. Maria Tall Chief was a good second. Then Orange Thunder came finishing strongly for third. And then Nepal in a battle for fourth. Slots to the west, more than 7,200. Hundreds of table games, 30 restaurants and bars, and the stunning Yamava Theater, where the world's top artists. In the gate. And they're off. New King gets the first call. Miramati hustled up for early speed, and Eagles Flight is also asked to go in the early stages. And there goes Eagles Flight. Eagles Flight and Miramati will go at it for the first quarter of a mile. Behind them, New King settles in third on the outside of Mitzi's Express. It's another 3 back to Ghazali, who's 3 clear of Invigorated. And Demotivate is at the back of the field. Miramati wants to lead and gets it. Opens up 2.5 lengths. Eagles Flight content to track him and is tugging his way to go and re-engage. Another 2 back to Mitzi's Express in third. New King fourth, 4 lengths off Miramati. Then it's Ghazali racing 3 in front of Invigorated and Demotivate. They're coming to the half-mile pole. It's Juan Hernandez and Miramati, 3/4 of a length. Eagles Flight, a clear-cut second. Now it's 4 back to New King third. Ghazali takes fourth into the far turn. Down at the rail, Mitzi's Express is next. Invigorated, hard-ridden. Demotivate is far back. Miramati trying to shake loose, coming to the quarter pole, has a 2-length lead on Eagles Flight. Still 4 back to New King in third. Then Ghazali and Mitzi's Express. A quarter of a mile to go. Miramati a length and a half. Eagles Flight set down within 2 lengths of him now with a furlong to go. Miramati still full of run, though. Eagles Flight cannot match strides with him. On the inside, Mitzi's Express. New King. Miramati by 4 past the 16th pole. And a stellar performance from Miramati, who takes him all the way. Miramati scores by 4.5. Eagles Flight second best. Mitzi's Express and New King. We're in the gate. And they're off. Prince Prancelot sprints out of the gate with early foot, as does Piper's Causeway, who's up to take the lead. Here's Straight Luck in the blue colors, and on the far outside, Jetivator is in the mix, as is Double Jab. Havoc is just behind the leaders, 3 lengths off them, in fact. Chrome Flash moves through inside Prince Prancelot, who has dropped back. Afternoon Nap is next on the inside of Uncle John, a gap of 6 to Last Call London, and Refocus has to pass them all. Into the far turn, it's Jetivator in front, 3/4 of a length to Double Jab at the rail in second. It's 2 more lengths to Piper's Causeway, who races a joint third. And down on the inside, Havoc is fourth, 4 lengths off the lead. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and Jetivator, Double Jab fighting hard with him in second. Just behind them, Havoc trying to angle out in the center of the course. Here's Chrome Flash with that white face, and Afternoon Nap is getting involved too. Piper's Causeway, it's a driving finish. Chrome Flash, Afternoon Nap with the momentum on the outside. What a day for Juan Hernandez. Afternoon Nap gives him 5. Chrome Flash was second. Jetivator in front of Double Jab. In the gate. Just working on Irish Wahini. And they're off in the Las Flores. Don't Bring Crazy bounces out sweetly and goes straight to the front. Pleasant wasn't quick out of the gate, but has moved up to take second. Here's Ricci, a close third, just 2.5 or so off the lead. Irish Wahini broke well, but is at the back of the field with Wine on Tap. 5 lengths covers them, heading to the half-mile pole. And it's Don't Bring Crazy the target, a length and a half in front. Pleasant in second, Ricci at the rail, a close third still. Only 2 off them into the far turn while hugging the fence. Another 2 back to Wine on Tap, and 2 more to Irish Wahini. They have less than 3/8 of a mile to go. Don't Bring Crazy, Pleasant. Ricci needs racing room just behind them, trying to find a spot to slip through, and does. And Ricci will cut the corner at the top of the stretch as Pleasant takes the lead. Pleasant and Ricci. Ricci is loaded, and Ricci takes over, opens up on Pleasant at the furlong pole. Don't Bring Crazy in third, followed by Irish Wahini. A 16th to go. Ricci by 2. Pleasant trying her best, but she is second best to Ricci, who blazes home in the Las Flores. Pleasant second, tight photo for third between Don't Bring Crazy and Irish Wahini. They're all in line. And they're off. El Potente sprints out of the gate, trying to cross over. Along the inside, Game Time in the green takes the early lead. They're followed by Call Me Harry, who's in the firing line, and Banyek is up close in between rivals, too. Then it's Eye on Rye, who's 3 deep moving into the first turn. Just inside of him comes Fearless Soldier with the white and red colors. Then it's Sarwar, Sienwa, Irish Prophet is behind that pair. Toward the back of the field are Maltese Falcon in the red, racing 3 lengths in front of Escape Artist, and Living Life is at the back, close to 20 lengths off the leader. Down the backstretch, and it is Game Time, and Armando Ayuso leading the way by a half length. Banyek is racing in second. Just behind them comes El Potente, and Call Me Harry is tucked in and willing along the rail in fourth. Fearless Soldier is in striking range, just 4 lengths off the lead into the far turn. Then Eye on Rye, followed by Sarwar, who races on the inside of Irish Prophet. Another 2, Maltese Falcon, inches up on the outside of Sienwa, who needs to find racing room. Behind them comes Escape Artist and Living Life. They have a quarter of a mile to go, and El Potente is up to take the lead, chased intently by Eye on Rye. Eye on Rye and El Potente. El Potente running strongly through the stretch. Eye on Rye in second. In behind them, Sarwar, Irish Prophet on the outside. They come to the wire, and it will be El Potente, a convincing winner. Second went to Eye on Rye. Then it was a photo for third between Irish Prophet and Sarwar, and several horses were trying to close in to complete the super high five.
My seminar guests and I are going to pretend that we're scholars today because we're going to try and identify and predict the future and identify all 10 winners on today's outstanding card. But we're a little bit smarter than we look because we both grew up back east. My seminar guest in the state of Pennsylvania, myself in the state of Illinois, as you just saw in the scenic shot. Not a cloud in the sky, close to 75 degrees here in Arcadia. Our sympathy and prayers to those who are still back on the East Coast undergoing some severe weather these days, unfortunately. My seminar guest name, David Nance. David, welcome to the seminar. Happy Sunday.
It's always good to be here, buddy. How are you?
You're from Hazleton, Pennsylvania.
Yes,
You're a long way from home.
Yes, I am. Not too many people can say that from Hazleton, that's for sure.
And we've actually had a bartender here that's from
I
Hazleton,
know, which was
Pennsylvania.
amazing.
I mean, of all places.
Unbelievable.
Now, you were a young kid when you moved out here, basically, right?
17.
Yeah. Never regretted it?
No, I never looked back.
Did you go to the races back east before you came to
Yeah,
San
I did.
Diego?
I opened my tack was started at Pocono Downs and then moved over to Penn National.
You went from the outhouse to the penthouse.
Exactly. You're right. It felt like that for sure because Pocono Downs was just trotters.
How long have you been playing the races, David? I don't want to date you, but basically
I mean, I'm going to be 70 this year. I mean,
you look
I don't
great
know,
for your age.
probably, 55, 50, at least 60 years.
Don't you think that playing the races keeps your mind young and kind of makes you young as well? I mean, it's such a stimulating game from an intellectual standpoint. I mean, a lot of people your age don't use half the brain power that you do on a daily basis.
I just kind of remember, I don't know if I'm sure that all the old rounders remember Mary. She was an Italian lady that was here forever and ever, and she was in here well into her 90s. And I believe it was because
was she the red-haired lady?
She was the blonde-haired gal that used to be around all the time. And I believe she stayed that way because she was at the races every day.
And when you come to the track, as opposed to playing from home, you're moving around, you're socializing with people. I mean, it's kind of, it's one of the reasons, in my opinion, why so many trainers live such a long life. They wake up early, they're active, they're not just sitting around in a rocking chair watching TV.
Well, once you come out here and just see the beauty, and then of course in the morning with all the horses and just those mountains, I mean, it's tough to overcome, really, when you think about it, rather than sitting in your home.
It's invigorating, that's for sure. Now, we've got a really good 10-race card today. We've talked about, before we came on air, how some of the other cards look so challenging, yet a lot of favorites have been winning. I don't necessarily think that's going to be the case today, David.
I'm going to try to wake up the dead today. I mean, I try to do it every day. And like I say, that coroner's truck is in the parking lot waiting for me daily. But I mean, other than opening day, where it was pretty good and it was really, a lot of value, a lot of horses like there are today. Every race from that point on, the cards looked competitive, but a lot of guys have been chalking their cues here a lot.
You joked about waking up the dead, but it's actually a good style of handicapping because that's one of the reasons why I like to have you on the seminar. I often use the analogy that Wayne Gretzky spoke about when he played hockey. He goes, I don't skate to where the puck is. I skate to where I think the puck is going to go. So you're looking beyond, you're looking beyond the obvious things in the past performances, whatever it might be, pace scenario, equipment change. You're trying to project future improvement that might not be so obvious.
Like you say, I was talking to your man here earlier this morning, and they say you isolate the favorite and see basically is he worthy of that, and then you kind of build on that from the race, and hopefully you kind of think that maybe he's vulnerable in that spot, or just try to make it happen.
Now that's the handicapping side of it. What about the wagering side of it? Like, what type of wagers do you like to play?
I think if you're
exactas.
I think if you're an everyday player, you have to make scores. You have to make scores, and you have to play rolling bets.
More than just win bets.
It's the only way in order to overcome this game. You have to make scores. I think for a guy like me who's betting small amount of money, trying to win big amount of money, the only way you can maximize that is through rolling bets.
If you're playing a pick 5 and you hit 4 out of 5, how do you handle that emotionally? I mean, you basically handicap everything correctly 80%. And yet you got nothing to show for it.
Well, I hope, first of all, when I get home, my dog's in the backyard so I don't yell at her, but, I'm numb to it, actually. I'm numb to it. It's, it's almost like I expected lately, but, you just hope that the next day, you just move on. I always say shooters keep shooting. Kobe didn't stop, LeBron doesn't stop. These guys don't, they don't stop. They might strike out, but like you said, they're going to come back and make it happen. So that's what, just try to stay positive and do it that way.
And what about race replays? I know you basically watch race replays a lot. Now, when do you do that? Typically, like, let's say you're not doing the seminar. Do you do it the night before or do you do it the morning of?
My friend Richie in Las Vegas loves me to do it the night before, but I like it fresh in my mind. I wait till the morning.
I do too.
I wait till the morning. I need it fresh in my mind. I don't have his brilliant mind. So I try
And you
to.
might have a lot of baggage, you know,
Yeah.
unnecessary baggage.
Well,
from
and sometimes
the
I
day's
have,
results.
you know, and it just, like I said, it's kind of fresh in my mind, and I like to do it in the morning. I think it stays on your mind better that
You
way.
mentioned Richie, of course, who's a notorious figure there in Las Vegas.
Yes, he is.
We'd be making a mistake by not saying hi to him. But also another good friend of yours is Eric Roth, the Academy Award-winning
Yes, he is.
screenwriter.
And he finally made his debut yesterday.
It was opening day for
and
him.
it was opening day for him, fresh out of Montana. You know, and we had a lovely day. And of course, we were on a couple of winners, but nothing that mattered. And you know, it's just one of those days, just where everything looked like it was promising turning for home, and they just kind of fell in a hole.
You got a lot of rich friends. You got one friend who you just mentioned coming back from Montana. You got another friend who came back from the south of France.
Yeah, Willie. I mean, you know, he lives the life we dream about. He's over there in the south of France, living it up every day with his beautiful wife, and you know, I can't go around the block. So, I mean, you know, I just live vicariously through those guys.
But isn't that the beautiful thing of coming to the racetrack? All the characters you meet. I mean, you know, it's a wide spectrum of humanity, right? When you come to the racetrack, we haven't even touched upon Professor Cinch. He'd be the exact opposite of the two people we just spoke about.
I mean, God rest their souls. There's so many guys that are no longer here, and you know, I think we're kind of like the last of the Mohicans here. And I mean, it was really something to behold years ago. It really was.
And everybody had nicknames.
Amazing.
He still has nicknames, you know.
I have a nickname for everybody, and I'm sure they have one for me. But you know,
we got Woody, we got Fonzie. I mean, the list just goes on
exactly,
and on.
exactly.
And you've got nicknames, I'm sure, for some jockeys
Oh,
as well.
I don't want to disrespect them. I won't disrespect them.
It's a tough job.
It sure is. It really is.
We can second guess them all day long,
Yeah.
but they literally
Well,
have
and
to
they're
make
making split second decisions.
Yeah.
And, you know, like I said, we're in our mind, we're thinking the way a race is supposed to set up. And of course, when it doesn't right away, you know, I'm right on top of the jock. Like, what are you doing? You know, why aren't you up there? Why are you so far back? You know, it's just part of the game.
There's a million ways to be wrong and only one way to be right. And that's really the thrill. The thrill is in the hunt, right?
There's always a winner in every race, like they say. And, you know, it's not easy just finding that.
But you feel so good when you actually, like you said, make a score. Because, you know, you need to make that score in order to sustain
yourself. Well, when you
yourself
find something that really matters, like, you know, when Richie always says, find, you know, in this pick five, there's no real winner. Like, you know, when you can find a horse that might pay $10 or $12, a real winner, not just a 3 to 5 shot.
And then work around that.
Yeah, and work around that. So, yeah, it feels good when you do it, for sure.
It always feels good whenever we have David Nance as our seminar guest today. We're going to find out who he likes on today's outstanding 10-race card. But before we do any of that, let's toss the microphone over to track announcer Frank Miramati and get the early changes on today's Sunday's program here at the Great Race Place.
Good morning and welcome to Santa Anita Park, the Great Race Place. The track is fast and the turf is firm. The rail on the turf is out 10 feet. Here are the changes. No scratches or jockey changes in race 1. There are no changes in the second. In the third, scratch number 8, Reef City. Scratch number 9, Lord Wimborne. Note that number 2, Pour on the Coal, will be ridden by Kevin Orozco. The fourth race starts the middle pick 4 on races 4 through 7. Scratch number 9, Just Resilience. In the fifth race, $2 pick 6 begins. No scratches or jockey changes. The sixth race offers $3 all-turf pick 3 wagering on races 6, 8, 10. Also the start of the 50-cent late pick 5, just the one blinker note. The seventh is the Fasig-Tipton Santa Ynez Stakes. Start of the late pick 4, no changes. No changes in the 8th. Start of the $3 late pick 3. In the 9th, beginning of the $5 late double. Just a blinker note. And in the 10th, scratch the also eligibles 12 and 13. Super high 5 wagering offered on race 10. Enjoy your afternoon here at Santa Anita Park. Coast to coast pick 5 offered between the races at Gulfstream and Santa Anita. And of course, it's a low 15% takeout, $1 minimum wager. Starts today, 12:51 Pacific with Gulfstream's 8th. Fridays, we offer free admission, free parking, $3 beers, and $5 margaritas. Free Fridays all meet long here at the Great Race Place. Post time for the first is in 58 minutes at 11:30 today. Let's go back to Quigley's Corner. Tom's special guest today is David Nance.
Welcome back. We're shooting the breeze with veteran horse player David Nance. He's been on track here for in excess of 5 decades on a daily basis, I might add. And David, before we went to the scratches from Frank Miramati, we were talking about making big scores. Just curious, like what type of big scores have you had in the past?
Well, I think, hitting pick 4s that pay 60 and 70,000, that's a good score.
That's a good lick.
Pick 6, part of, 200, somewhere in that area.
Sure.
Pick 5s. In the 20 to 30 range, quite a few of those,
When you play pick 4s, do you press it? In other words, let's just say the minimum is 50 cents. Will you play something like $2 or $5?
Sometimes I do, Tom, but actually I'm more or less just one sheet kind of guy, maybe 2 tops.
You happy that the $2 pick 6 is back in play?
I haven't played pick 6 in a long time, to be honest with you. I'm more of a pick 5 player.
Sure.
I think the value is there, like you say, the takeout and all the rest of it.
Not competing with the syndicates.
I mean, I don't even think about pick 6 anymore. I mean, a lot of people do, but I mean, maybe on carrier was, but certainly that was a thing, back in the old days.
Well, let's put your experience to the test here, David, by looking at today's 10-race card. Kicking things off in race number 1, which of course begins the popular 50-cent early pick 5. We're going 1 mile on the turf course for maiden claiming fillies and mares in for a $50,000 tag. The rails today are at 10 feet. We've got a good field of 9. Number 9, Day Dawning, is the current 2-to-1 choice on the tote board from the Jonathan Thomas barn. Before we get your thoughts on the race, David, I wanted to watch a replay that a number of these runners exit. Specifically, 5 of the 9 runners exit the race back on November 16th at Del Mar. It's the 9th race, and the horse you're going to see that finished the second, number 7, Rich of Joy, is currently 6-to-1 on the tote board. She's going to break from post position number 2. She's the one to kind of focus in on, but as I mentioned, there's other runners in this particular field today that exit this race. So let's watch the replay back on November 16th, the 9th race at Del Mar, and listen to Larry Colmus describe the action.
They're off. Good start. Rich of Joy, Dangerous Affair out to the front. Outside of them, steps it out to the front as they race past the finish line for the first time. Then Last Elizabethan, followed by Nakota. Outside of them, Blue Fashion, Fireban right in that group as well, making their way into that first turn. And then a break of another 2.5 lengths more back to Morgan's Bluff, who races just ahead of Happy as a Clam. At the back of the field, God's Favor and Queen Brookley. Onto the backstretch in 23.14 seconds, and the leader is Step It Out. Taken on now on the outside by Crimson Sonata, who's just a neck back in second by 2. Then Rich of Joy and Dangerous Affair together, 2.5 to Last Elizabethan and Nakota, who races a team as well. And then back to Blue Fashion, who's just to the outside of Fireban up the backstretch. Then a break of another 2.5 lengths more, back to Morgan's Bluff, God's Favor to the inside. And then come the 2 trailers, Happy as a Clam and Queen Berkeley. 47.49 was the half, racing for the far turn. Step It Out continues to lead Crimson Sonata by 3/4 of a length. Rich of Joy is on the rail, saving all the ground here, coming to the top of the stretch. Dangerous Affair swings up 4 wide for the stretch drive, and then comes Nakota down toward the inside. 1 furlong to catch. Step It Out by a length and a half. Rich of Joy still trying hard. Dangerous Affair is there on the outside. Step It Out's got it close to home, and Step It Out's gonna do it. It was
David, Step It Out went wire to wire in that replay we just watched. Rich of Joy had a good trip, but it was only second best, just missed by less than a length. And you can see the calorie charge here on the gallop out, including a horse ridden by Tyler Bays in that particular replay, who was number 6, Fire Ban, in today's race. A lot of different ways you can go in race number 1, David. Which way you going?
Yeah, I believe there is a lot of ways to go. You got a couple of maiden special weight droppers, Michael McCarthy's Holly Go Quickly and Jonathan Thomas's Day Dawning on the bottom. Those are always horses that you have to consider, considering these other horses have been in for a tag for a while. I ended up falling on Rich of Joy here. I think he's going to get the right trip. The other horse that I really, am projecting, and I'm not sure that he will, is the Rail Parade Down Broad. He broke a lane slow the other day. He's coming out of a sprint. He's got the rail. I'm just hoping that Mike just kind of, puts his head down and sends him out of there. I picked Rich of Joy. I mean, not that he he had a perfect trip the other day and he couldn't run down that speed, who made an easy lead. But I think he'll get that same type of trip again today, Tom. And the other horses that, Nakota, Holly, Gojo, Brian Corner's horse had some trouble in that race. I think he can improve in there. Last Elizabeth, her second race down, certainly, she ran second here at this course and then went to Delmar, maybe didn't like it. Those are contenders, but I'm trying to make the one, trying to get him up to go wire to wire in there. And if he falls apart, Rich of Joy can pick him up.
Parade Down Broad, your second choice, David, made Brad Free's horses to watch list from the Daily Racing Form. Brad Free's comment was that she galloped out in front with a solid comeback effort. Now she takes the blinkers off and goes first time turf, currently 9-1 on the tote board. And your top selection, number 7, Rich of 7.
And she's a big turf move up in there.
Yeah, 7-1 on the tote board right now. So 2 good prices for your top 2 selections. Before we take a look at race number 2, David, another question for you. You mentioned Michael McCarthy, and of course you and I are friends with him.
Right.
How do you handle information that you get from various people around the racetrack? I mean, sometimes it can be valuable. Sometimes you can just basically draw a line through it. So how do you balance maybe what you hear versus what you handicap on paper?
Michael's really good about it. I mean, he'll tell you what he feels. It's like what I used to say, God rest poor Barry Evans' soul,
Great man.
He would never tell you he was no good. He would always say he was good. He would always, oh yeah, I'm going to win this race,
I think all horsemen and horsewomen think
I don't know that
way.
many trainers other than Michael, and I know Brian, of course, and of course, you don't like to ask someone who's claiming races and all the rest of it, but as a rule, their opinion is pretty good.
Yeah.
As a rule, their opinion is pretty good.
I like it when they don't like a horse, but that's
exactly.
I agree.
I agree.
Race number 2 begins the 50-cent early pick 4. We're sprinting 6 furlongs on the main track. It's a restricted allowance optional claiming race for non-winners of one other than the restriction is this race is restricted to horses and horsemen based in Northern California since January 1st, 2024. Of course, we've got a huge influx of Northern California horses. As you look through the entries for race number 2, you'll see Northern California trainers and Northern California jockeys primarily in this field of 7. The heavy favorite is number 6, Grubauer from the Tim McCanna barn, 4-5 in the Moy line. Now, in the past, David, you paid a lot of attention to Northern California. I mean, you paid almost as much attention to Northern California as you did to Southern California.
We did.
Have you been able to solve the riddle yet with all these invaders from
No,
Northern
not
California?
really. Honestly, I mean, it's a real struggle up there now with those horses up there. I mean, I don't pay a whole lot of attention to it anymore because the racing is, the short fields and not a whole lot of value, and certainly.
But we're going to see a lot more now with Pleasant.
I think so. Yes. In this race here, I mean, I'm embarrassed to tell you that I like the 6. I think he, he's just solid here. He's probably either going to lay second to the 3, who, they ran 1-2, or they ran in the same race the other day. The 3 kind of dueled. Grubauer got a perfect trip in there, but maybe they can turn the table today. 3 might get off to an easy lead, and you don't know how they're going to like this racetrack. They're coming from Pleasanton, what's a little bit deeper up there to this, to the concrete here. So you just don't know how it's going to be. So I made the race 6/3.
And you will know there's some very solid horsemen up in Northern California. Tim McCann is one of them. Bill McLean, Steve Sherman. Blaine Wright, I think they're going to fit in. It's the other trainers.
Tamayo does a good job.
Yes, I saw him actually, as a matter of fact,
Manny
in the paddock
Badea,
yesterday.
Yeah, those guys are good.
It's certainly increasing our field sizes, and it's great to have them here in Southern California, and hopefully they'll all be able to make the transition and benefit everybody involved. Race number 3, we're going 2 turns on the main track, 1 mile. This, once again, is a restricted claiming race, and we're also setting history here. In my 4 decades of being in Southern California, I don't think I've ever seen a $5,000 claimer at the Great Race Place, but that's where we're at in 2025. We've got 2 scratches here in this $5,000 claimer. Scratch the 8 and the 9 leaves us with a field of 8. There is 1 jockey change. Number 2, Pour on the Coal, is now ridden by Kevin Orozco. Similar conditions here. This is restricted to horses that have started for a claiming price of $62,500 or less in one of their last 2 starts. A lot of Northern California horses here, David. Who do you like and why?
Well, a favorable scratch here for the horse that I like. They scratched out Reef City, who was a possible contender up on the field. It's a wide open field again. The Pleasanton horses, you know, they're it's an enigma, you know, up there because I just don't pay a whole lot of attention to race strengths and all the rest of it. I'm trying to get the 7-horse Nameless to go wide. You know, this horse, he just kind of became sharp all of a sudden. He came out of Gulfstream. Shipped into Pleasanton, broke his maiden, you know, really, you know, on a hard-fought day that day, and then he stepped right into the, you know, a cheap claiming race, but he did what he's supposed to do. He came back and won, you know, and so I think when you look at this race, these horses have had a lot of chances. A lot of them are just kind of, you know, running in place. So I'm going to take a shot with him at 10-1. I think there's good value here. I made it 7/4, Tom.
Race number 4 on a 10-race card begins at 50-cent middle pick 4 at Santa Anita. Race 4, the conditions are the exact same as race number 6, so it's a split of race 6, and those conditions are sprinting 6 furlongs in the turf course for maiden special weight 3-year-olds. Scratch the 9 leaves us with a field of 8. Number 4, Grinnell, is a first-time gelding. Drawn right outside of him is number 5, Tamino from the Richard Mandela barn. 5-2 on the morning line. Flavian back in Southern California after journeying to Oakland Park yesterday. Talk to us about race 4, David.
A lot of well-bred horses here. Don't know a whole lot about the first-time starters. This race, the horse that have run wasn't, you know, super crazy about the 1 or the 7. I kind of came down to Unbreakable Trust. His second race down, you know, he actually ran okay when he got JJ. Picks up Lasix today. Looks like he's going to get the right trip from out there. Grinnell could be okay in this spot. You know, he showed one time in maiden special weight where he showed a little speed. Like you say, he's a gelding today. Back to a new turf course could be all right. And Tamino, you know, the candy rides, they can just run on roofing nails. So I mean, he gets Flavian to ride. You know, Richard Mandel at one time was the king of first-time starters. Lately, he's been trying to, you know, school them a little bit more. I don't know anything about Phil D'Amato's horse coming from Ireland, so I just kind of came down to 8/5 there.
Race number 5 begins the $2 pick 6, and we kick things off sprinting 6.5 furlongs in the main track for fillies and mares. Allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 1 other than a field of 7. Number 5, Over Attracted, is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Flavian back in the saddle. Give us your thoughts on race 5, David.
Well, it's again, I think there's like 4 real contenders here. I'm you know, there's the 2 speeds that I like, which I'm picking 1, 2. You know, I'm trying to get this Dolce Ghost. He's fresh. I like fresh horses coming into these type of races, you know, where these horses have been kind of battling each other's brains out for a while. He's fresh. You know, he comes out of those good allowance races at Pleasanton and Golden Gate. I know he's been off a year, but I kind of like fresh horses in this spot. He's got the box. I think the only horse that he has to outrun is the Rail, who showed a different dimension the other day, kind of waited, came off the pace and won pretty easily, and he was a claim back by Hector Palma. Obviously over-attached. You know, he's a reverse, a bounce for me today. He's been solid in his 2 starts. He gets Flavian today. Certainly he's a contender. And Safa, you know, I've always had a soft spot in my heart for this horse. You know, Gary's done a great job with this horse. He always comes running. He's honest, but, you know, it just depends how the pace sets up. If 6 can get off to an easy lead, I'm hoping I can get him to go wider.
David, when you crack open the racing form for the very first time before you look at a day's card, do you kind of just look at the pace scenario first? Is that kind of...
That's the first thing I absolutely do to see. I look exactly. I always try to isolate the speed and see if there's multiple speeds or 1 speed. And then of course, the condition of the race, which is the most important thing, which I kind of learned from my friend in Las Vegas. You know, I mean, it's always, if they don't fit the condition, certainly they can't win.
Race number 7 begins both the 50-cent late pick 5 as well as the $3 all turf pick 3. And as mentioned previously, race 6 is a split of race 4, 6 furlongs in the turf course. Maiden special weight 3-year-olds. We've got a good field of 10 here. Number 1, General Jackson, off the layoff, is a first-time gelding, the morning line favorite on the bottom. Number 10, Unique Power. Before we get your thoughts on the race, David, I wanted to watch a replay at Del Mar, and that replay was back in November, specifically for number 5, Springs. Springs has 1 career start. That was back on November 17th, the 5th race at Del Mar. There's other runners in this field who also debuted in that race, but I want you to pay attention in this replay to Springs, who is going to break from post position number 4. Tyler Bays was in the saddle this particular day on the replay we're about to watch. Umberto Rispoli in the saddle today. Lasix on, blinkers on, and more importantly, maybe going from 5 furlongs in his debut to 6 furlongs today. Let's take a look at number 4, Springs, in this replay back on November 17th, and listen to Larry Colmus describe the action.
They're off. Your cousin from Boston off slowly. Going viral is going to the front. On the outside is FOMO Joe with some early foot as well. And right there to Catch the Breeze, Supersonic Blue toward the inside as they head up the backstretch. These 4, 2.5 lengths clear of Dirty Words, who's inside of Soul Music, racing for the far turn. Then to Tori, who's 8 lengths from the front. They're being followed by Lucky Choices, Springs in a bit of traffic there. Your cousin from Boston and Prank Zappa to the outside. Around the far turn, and FOMO Joe and Catch the Breeze have kicked on. These two, 1-2, and Supersonic Blue swings out there 3 wide for the stretch drive. It is FOMO Joe on top with 1 furlong to run, but Supersonic Blue is cutting into the gap on the outside. It's these two down to the final 16th. FOMO Joe and Supersonic Blue just not quite getting there. FOMO Joe by a length and a half to Supersonic Blue.
David, as we watch the gallop out here with Springs on the far outside, if you were to look in Webster's dictionary for brutal trip, you'd probably see a video of this particular replay of Springs. Off slow, checked multiple times on the far turn, swung wide, and you can see still here galloped out well. I do like the chances of Springs today, as I know you do too, but you like one other runner just a little bit better.
Well, I should have premised that when you were getting ready to run that race. If you watch Supersonic Blue out of the same race, he was down on the rail, and I think the FOMO Joe race came back very good. He came back and ran a bang-up race in his route. Is that he actually was trying to get up in there into the far turn, and he had to check, and he kind of sucked out of there, and I thought he lost about 1.5 lengths. Today, it looks like the race is loaded with speed. I think this horse breaking from the outside will get a much better trip. He gets Lasix today as well. Soy Neugren ran good the other day. Cajun Gold certainly, down at Del Mar ran even in those. He was kind of hit by the deck a little bit. It was kind of vicious in front of him. He kind of got the best of it. Toughness, he comes out of that smooth cruising race, which is Karen Hidley's horse, which I think she has a really, really nice horse that ran decent yesterday in that really, really tough stake race. He broke a little slowly. It just depends how the race sets up here. I wasn't crazy about the outside 2 horses out of the, I wasn't crazy about Dirty Words at all. I know he gets Flavion today. Unique Power, 1 race on the dirt, coming from August, he gets the box today. Not quite sure. I kind of made the race like I said. The 5 had a brutal trip, gets blinkers, and a different rider today, and I made the race 6 and 5. Tom.
Race number 7 is our feature race on today's card. It's the Fasig-Tipton Santa Ynez Stakes, $100,000 guaranteed purse for 3-year-old fillies, sprinting 7 furlongs on the main track. Race 7 also begins the 50-cent late pick 4. We've got a good field of 8 here. 3 of them trained by Bob Baffert. However, the morning line favorite, trained by our friend Michael McCarthy, is number 5. Look Forward, who's 2-1 on the morning line. Once again, David, before we get your thoughts on the race, wanted to watch a workout for a comeback runner, and that would be number 3, AZ Wildcat. This workout was back on December 15th. It's a team drill. I picked it up at the quarter pole because, as you can see, it's a little bit dark while they were working out this particular morning, but you're able to see down on the inside AZ Wildcat. And once again, watching the exercise riders' arm movements and elbow movements and everything else, you can see he's not really asking AZ Wildcat for her best. The workmate on the outside actually finished 3rd in the Blue Northern Stakes, going 1 mile of the turf course earlier this meet. So the workmate is rock solid, and AZ Wildcat, as you can see here on the gallop out, continues to improve her position. There's a lot of different talented fillies in this race, David. Who do you like and why?
It's a wide open race, and they're all really well bred, and like you said, there's a million ways you can go. I think the rail ran good the other day with a perfect trip from the box. I'm always impressed with a horse that can run 2 turns for the first time and win, come back and work good. The other Baffert, like you said, AZ Wildcat did it really nicely at Los Alamitos. She's been off 6 months, probably nursing some injuries or whatever, and comes back in a spot that, again, she's going to be tested from, down on the inside. Practical Dream, I've always liked this horse. She's kind of a Jekyll and type of horse. You don't know what you're going to get. I'm hoping that she clears today. I think the value is that she can get out there and get clear. Look forward. Michael got him from, Ben Cecil, God bless his soul. He ran really, really good in the Starlet, dueled the whole way. Certainly has a chance. Maru, I mean, it's Bob Baffert. You can never say no. And Silent Law, again, he draws the box. He's going to just be able to dictate out there whatever Practical Dream does. These two kind of trade blows back and forth, up near the lead. So I just don't know what kind of trip that she's going to get. I actually made her my top choice. And Artisma ran real good the first time against Maiden. So, again, it's a lot of ways you can go. I made the race 7/4. I just hope that those two can get out there and go coast to coast.
Race number 8 begins the $3 late pick 3 with a reduced 15% takeout. And we're traveling 1 mile on the turf course for fillies and mares, allowance optional claiming types, non-winners of 2, other than another good field of 8. Number 4, Sariha from the Mark Glatbarn is the 2-1 morning line favorite. Give us your thoughts on race 8, David.
I mulled over this race quite a bit before I decided which horse I wanted to take. I was actually trying to wake up Yuki here, stretching out. Looks like he can make the lead. I would certainly use him in everything that I'm going to do, in this series of bets. But I ended up coming down to Serena. It's second time Mark Glad. He claimed him for 25, brought him right into an allowance race. The pace wasn't all that fast that day. He just really showed dramatic improvement from the claim, ran those horses down. I think he'll get the same type of trip again. Excelsiorina, the horse I believe I picked her. I picked Real Fire second. This horse was a horse to be contended with back in 2022. She was really one of the ones, and then she kind of shipped back to the East Coast, ran on Tapeta a couple times, then got back to the turf. She has some speed. I'm worried that Yuki might run into her, so that's why I kind of changed my mind a little bit on Yuki. But I think for the value, Yuki's a definite must use in this race. I made the race 4/1, Tom.
Yuki, 30-1 on the morning line, is one of the many contenders in race number 8, as David just identified. As indicated earlier, today's card is outstanding from a value standpoint. Race number 9 begins the $5 late daily double, also with a reduced 15% takeout. Take a look at this field. A field of 13 going 6 furlongs in the main track for $16,000 claimers, non-winners of 2 races lifetime. To indicate how wide open this race is, the morning line favorite is at 4-1, and it's number 12, Constant Conflict from the Andrew Harris barn. We thought the other races were grab bags and scrambles. This one's a total scramble.
It really is. I mean, again, many ways you can go. And from a pace standpoint, you just don't know how it's going to be run. I mean, I picked Constant Conflict. I think he's the most competitive. He ran very, very, he comes out of that Los Alamitos, which, again, I tend to favor the horses that run around here as opposed to the Pleasanton horses. And I think he's going to get the right trip. Red on Sunday, I kind of wanted to like him. He's on Steve Knapp claim. He picked it up and ran even the other day. I was going to make him my second choice. I think he's got a chance. Formidable Threat, Travel the Map. Those are other speed horses along with Teddy's Triumph, which certainly, again, if one of them gets cleared down the backside, they could make something happen here. Spiritualist will probably get the right trip if everything falls apart, and he could pick him up and made the race 12/1.
We close out the day and we close out the week in race number 10, offering $1 super high five wagering. Keep in mind, live racing resumes on Friday. We race 3 days next weekend before 4 days the following weekend, which will be Martin Luther King Holiday Monday special racing. And we close it out on Sunday's card, going 1 mile on the turf course for starter optional claiming types. We've got 2 scratches here. The 2 also eligibles will not compete. 12 and 13 still leaves us with a full field of 11. The morning line favorite, number 3, Dealer Special from the Richie Baltus barn, 3-1 on the morning line. Tip of the cap to number 2, Gentleman's Club, the second son of world famous Mayor Girl downstairs, who is currently 6-1 on the morning line, ridden by Flavien Prat. This is another absolute grab bag to close. If you're alive in the pick 5 or the pick 6, you better say a few prayers before they run this race.
Well, this is the race that I'm kind of laying my hat on. Again, this is the last race, and
It's the get out race.
That corner truck will be warm and it'll be ready to fire out of that parking lot. But I'm taking a shot. I really like 6 Magpies. I liked her film, Tom. She broke slow.
That's your best bet on today's card.
I would say this. I like this horse best. She broke slow.
She's only 20 to 1. He's only 20 to 1 on the morning line.
And he had trouble on the turn, and he finished loaded and really galloped out good. I like that horse a lot. And I think obviously the horse to beat is Presider. This is a horse that when you talk about 4 out of 5, well, this is the horse that I needed. And Rasmus Vibe dropped down on the rail and got me at the end. I mean that
but
race.
You're still showing him some love.
That race showed some promise too. And again, there's a lot of ways to go. Big money. He owes me nothing. I've made a lot of money with him. Brave Blend, Belmont Bill, One Time Mark. They're all speed horses. Again, that you just don't know how the turf. You know, I always say you can never have enough horses on turf. It's all trip. But like I said, I'm taking a shot with 6 Magpies in there.
7 and 5 to close it out for our seminar guest David Nance. 6 Magpies, 20 to 1 on the morning line, indicating how wide open the nightcap race is today, as well as many other races. David, always a pleasure having you on the seminar. Love laughing with you and shooting the breeze. Basically, what people see on TV is what we do in the paddock almost on a daily basis, and make fun of people and come up with new nicknames. I don't know what other people do with their lives. I'm sure happy that I have you as a friend.
Thank you, buddy. Me too.
Thanks to all of you. Thanks to all of you for watching as well. Hope you enjoyed it. Nothing but good luck today on today's card. And one other wager to keep in mind as you're evaluating today's 10-race card, you're going to look at these races anyway. Why not include the Coast to Coast Pick 5 in your wagers? It's just $1 minimum, a low 15% takeout. You can see we've got 3 races from San Anita today, 2 races from Gulfstream Park, with the race at Gulfstream Park, race 8, kicking things off at 12:51 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Wish you nothing but luck, and we'll do it all again on Friday.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem.